Have you ever paused to wonder what truly drives our sense of happiness? Why do some people radiate joy effortlessly, while others struggle to find even a fleeting moment of peace? These are questions we all grapple with often, feeling like happiness slips through our fingers as quickly as the light fades at sunset. But what if there were timeless insights that could transform your approach to joy? Imagine starting each day with gratitude, finding serenity amidst chaos, and carrying a genuine smile. Not because happiness is fleeting, but because you've discovered how to make it your natural state. Welcome to Wisdom Diaries, where we delve into the profound teachings of Buddhism to enrich your life. In this video series, we'll uncover the secrets to lasting happiness through practical wisdom and actionable tips. From overcoming suffering to embracing mindfulness and compassion, Buddhism offers tools to infuse your daily life with joy and peace. Join us on this transformative journey to shift your perspective and enhance your experience of life. Together, we'll explore happiness through the lens of Buddhism. So where does happiness truly come from? Why does it often seem so elusive, present one moment and gone the next? Many of us chase external sources like wealth, success, or validation, only to find their joy fading fast. Buddhism teaches a profound truth. Happiness doesn't come from external achievements or others' approval. True happiness is cultivated from within. To sustain joy, we must understand its true origins and recognize what hinders it. And that's exactly what we'll explore today. Reflect on your happiest moments, perhaps time spent with loved ones, acts of kindness, or peaceful solitude away from the noise of life. What ties these moments together? It's not the events themselves, but the inner peace they evoke, a calm, content, and worry-free state of mind. According to Buddhism, happiness begins within us. Our thoughts, emotions, and perspectives shape how we experience life. When our mind is clear and calm, happiness flows effortlessly. But when it's clouded by desires, fears, or attachments, happiness becomes fleeting. This core teaching reminds us that cultivating joy starts with transforming our inner world. A central idea in Buddhism is impermanence, the understanding that everything in life is in constant flux. The things we crave, the people we cherish, and the circumstances we live in all are subject to change. Often we cling to things, hoping they'll stay the same, because we think that will keep us happy. But when things inevitably change, we feel let down or even heartbroken. This cycle of clinging and disappointment can block lasting happiness. Impermanence teaches us to value the present without holding too tightly to it. When we stop trying to hold on to things and accept that change is natural, we release ourselves from needless pain. This doesn't mean we shouldn't enjoy life's pleasures. It simply means we enjoy them without the fear of losing them, understanding that change is a part of life's rhythm. Another source of happiness in Buddhism is understanding the nature of suffering. At first, it might seem odd to discuss suffering while talking about happiness, but bear with me. According to Buddha's teachings, everyone experiences suffering. It's part of being human. Whether it's the pain of loss, the frustration of unfulfilled desires, or the stress of tough situations, suffering is universal. What's crucial to understand is that suffering doesn't come from the events themselves, but from how we react to them. For example, let's say you're stuck in traffic and feel yourself getting angry and frustrated. Is it the traffic itself that's causing your suffering, or is it your reaction to the traffic? If you stay calm and accept that the traffic is beyond your control, you'll notice that the frustration fades away. This simple shift in perspective can bring a lot of peace to your life. By learning to manage our reactions, we can minimize suffering and make room for more happiness. Buddhism encourages us to develop mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in the moment without judgment. When we are mindful, we observe our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. We can see them for what they are, temporary experiences that come and go. Instead of letting our thoughts control us, we learn to create space between them and our reactions. This practice is like training the mind, helping us stay calm and centered even in difficult situations. Mindfulness isn't something we only do while meditating. It's something we can bring into our everyday lives. For example, when you're eating, try to focus entirely on the experience, how the food tastes, smells, and feels. When you're walking, notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground and the movement of your body. This simple shift in attention can transform ordinary moments into sources of happiness. You'll start to notice that joy can be found in the most mundane activities if we're fully present for them. Another key aspect of happiness in Buddhism is compassion. Compassion is the understanding that everyone, just like us, is seeking happiness and trying to avoid suffering. When we open our hearts to others' struggles and feel empathy for them, we naturally cultivate a sense of connection and joy. Helping others, even in small ways, can bring a deep sense of fulfillment that material possessions can't provide. Compassion allows us to step outside our own worries and expand our view of the world. But here's the thing. Compassion isn't just for others. It's equally important to be compassionate toward ourselves. Often we are our own harshest critics, constantly judging ourselves for not being good enough or not achieving enough. This self-criticism can be a major obstacle to happiness. Buddhism teaches us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer to a friend. When we let go of self-judgment and embrace ourselves with compassion, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Happiness also comes from letting go. We often hold on to things that no longer serve us, whether it's old grudges, negative thoughts, or unrealistic expectations. This holding on creates tension and stress in our lives. Letting go doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop carrying the heavy burden of things we can't control. When we let go of the need to control everything, we create space for peace and happiness to enter. In summary, the roots of happiness in Buddhism are deeply tied to how we perceive and respond to the world around us. Happiness is not something we chase. It's something we cultivate by changing our relationship with our thoughts, emotions, and experiences. By embracing the truth of impermanence, understanding the nature of suffering, practicing mindfulness, cultivating compassion, and learning to let go, we can unlock a deeper, more lasting happiness. This path is not always easy and requires practice, but the rewards are profound. Each step we take toward understanding the roots of happiness brings us closer to a life filled with joy, peace, and contentment. Let this be a reminder that happiness is always within your reach. It just takes a shift in perspective and a willingness to explore the teachings that have guided so many toward a happier life. The Four Noble Truths and their role in happiness. As a Zen master, I often hear people ask, how can I be happy when life is so difficult? How can I find peace when there is so much suffering in the world? These questions reveal a truth we all share. Suffering is part of the human experience. But what if I told you that within suffering lies the key to true happiness? This is where the Buddhist teachings on the Four Noble Truths offer a profound path toward inner peace and joy. The Four Noble Truths form the foundation of Buddhist teachings, and they explain why we suffer and how we can overcome it. Understanding them can unlock the door to lasting happiness. Let me guide you through these truths in the simplest way possible, as they are not just ideas, but practical steps that can transform your life. The first noble truth, the truth of suffering. The first noble truth is called dukkha, which means suffering. It teaches us that life is full of experiences that bring discomfort, pain, and unease. Now, you might wonder why we focus on suffering if we're talking about happiness. It's because acknowledging suffering is the first step toward freedom from it. Think about it. We experience suffering in many forms. It can be physical, like illness or injury. It can also be emotional, like heartbreak, loneliness, or anxiety. Even in moments of joy, there's often an underlying fear that the joy won't last. For example, you might enjoy a wonderful holiday, but as it comes to an end, there's a sense of sadness knowing it's over. This is a subtle form of suffering, too. Suffering is an inevitable part of life, but this truth isn't meant to make us feel hopeless. It's meant to help us see clearly. When we recognize suffering, we stop running away from it. Instead, we face it. And this is the beginning of change. The second noble truth, the cause of suffering. The second noble truth tells us why we suffer. According to the Buddha, the cause of suffering is tanha, which means craving or desire. We suffer because we want things to be different than they are. We want pleasure, success, and things to last forever. When we don't get what we want, or when the things we enjoy fade away, we experience suffering. We feel pain. Think about how often this happens in daily life. You might crave a new job, believing it will make you happy, but once you get it, the happiness fades, and you start craving something else, maybe a promotion or a different job entirely. Or you might want a relationship to be perfect, but when it doesn't meet your expectations, frustration and sadness creep in. The third noble truth, the end of suffering. Here comes the good news. The third noble truth teaches us that suffering can end. This is called nirodha, the cessation of suffering. The Buddha realized that it is possible to break free from the cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. When we let go of our attachment to desires and stop clinging to things that are always changing, we can find true peace. Imagine for a moment what it would feel like to be free from all the stress and anxiety that comes from wanting more, wanting different, or wanting things to stay the same. Imagine a mind that is calm, clear, and content, no matter what happens around you. The fourth noble truth, the path to the end of suffering. Now that we understand suffering and its cause, and know that it can end, the fourth noble truth shows us how to get there. This truth is called marga, and it refers to the path that leads to the cessation of suffering. It is often called the Noble Eightfold Path, and it is the Buddhist practical guide for living a life free of suffering and full of happiness. The Eightfold Path consists of 8 aspects of life that, when practiced together, help us develop wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. These aspects are not steps to be taken one after the other, but rather qualities to be cultivated simultaneously. Here is a brief overview of the path. Right view, seeing things as they truly are, understanding the nature of suffering and the impermanence of all things. Right intention, Cultivating a mind free from harmful thoughts, filled with kindness and compassion. Right speech, speaking truthfully and kindly, avoiding harmful words. Right action, acting in ways that do not harm others, living ethically. Right livelihood, earning a living in a way that does not cause harm. Right effort, putting energy into developing positive qualities like mindfulness and kindness, and letting go of negative habits. Right mindfulness, being fully present in each moment, aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings. Right concentration, developing deep focus and clarity of mind through meditation. The path is not about perfection, it's about progress. Each day, as you practice, you will find yourself moving closer to a state of peace and happiness. The more you align your life with these principles, the more you will experience the end of suffering in your own mind and heart. How the Four Noble Truths lead to happiness. Now let's bring this back to the question we started with. How do the Four Noble Truths help us find happiness? By understanding that suffering is part of life and that it comes from our own cravings, we begin to see that happiness doesn't come from chasing after things outside ourselves. It comes from letting go of our attachment to these things. The happiness that Buddha described transcends external conditions. It's not derived from having the ideal job, the perfect relationship, or an enviable lifestyle. Rather, it springs from within, from a mind liberated from the relentless pursuit of more. By releasing our attachments and embracing the present moment, we uncover a profound, enduring happiness, one that remains steadfast through life's fluctuations. As you delve deeper into Buddhist teachings, remember that the Four Noble Truths are not mere theoretical concepts. They are principles to embody and practice. Every moment presents a chance to let go of desires, engage fully with the present, and achieve tranquility, regardless of life circumstances. Following this path not only alleviates your suffering, but also spreads joy to those around you. True, sustainable happiness starts with embracing and implementing these truths in everyday life. The Eightfold Path, a guide to living joyfully. In our quest for happiness, the Eightfold Path shines as a guiding light toward a more joyful life. This path, as taught by Buddha, offers more than philosophical guidance. It provides practical steps for a fulfilling existence. Each stage fosters wisdom, ethical behavior, and mental discipline, which collectively steer us toward lasting joy. Understanding this facet involves seeing the world clearly, free from the distortions of our desires or fears. It includes comprehending the Four Noble Truths, acknowledging suffering, recognizing its causes, realizing the potential for cessation, and understanding the path that leads there. Understanding these truths helps us accept the impermanent nature of life, recognizing that true happiness doesn't lie in clinging, but in accepting the transient. We strive to cultivate a mindset of love and kindness, instead of harboring feelings of hatred or greed. Our intentions greatly influence our actions, and by nurturing positive thoughts, we pave our way toward joy. Acting with virtuous intentions not only elevates our own spirit, but also lifts those around us, creating a wave of positivity that enhances collective harmony. Right speech. Words have power. They can heal or harm, build up or break down. Practicing right speech means speaking truthfully, kindly, and constructively. It encourages us to refrain from gossip and harmful words, fostering a culture of respect and understanding. When we choose our words wisely, we create an environment where happiness can flourish. Right action. This principle urges us to act ethically and morally in all our dealings. It means living in a way that does not cause harm to ourselves or others. By making conscious choices in our actions, such as being honest and compassionate, we pave the way for a joyful existence. When our actions align with our values, we feel a sense of peace and fulfillment. Right livelihood. This emphasizes the importance of earning a living in a way that does not harm others or the environment. It encourages us to seek work that is meaningful and aligns with our ethical beliefs. When we engage in work that contributes positively to society, we experience a deeper sense of purpose and happiness. Right effort. This step teaches us the importance of cultivating positive states of mind and letting go of negative ones. It requires us to put in the effort to develop good qualities such as kindness, patience, and compassion while abandoning harmful habits. By consistently striving for growth, we nurture our happiness and the happiness of those around us. Right mindfulness. Mindfulness and meditation are keys to inner peace. In today's whirlwind of life, it's all too easy to get swept up in the hustle and bustle, losing touch with the present. We dart from task to task, with minds buzzing, often overlooking the here and now. But what if the secrets to true peace and happiness were found in mastering the art of presence? This is the essence of mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness means attentively observing the current moment without critique. It involves being acutely aware of what's happening both around and within you, allowing you to truly experience life as it occurs. For instance, when eating, truly taste your food. Notice the textures, the flavors, the scents. Don't just eat mindlessly, relish each bite. This simple practice enhances sensory awareness, transforming an ordinary routine into a moment of delight. Meanwhile, meditation deepens this mindfulness, providing a structured way to nurture it. It's a practice that allows you to quiet the mind and connect with your inner self. You don't need to sit in a lotus position for hours to meditate. Start with just a few minutes each day. Find a comfortable spot, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Feel the air filling your lungs, then gently releasing it. When thoughts wander, acknowledge them, then bring your attention back to your breath. Over time, this simple practice can lead to profound inner peace. How mindfulness and meditation positively impact your daily life. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to notice the beauty in simple things: a flower blooming, the laughter of a child, or the warmth of the sun on your skin. These moments, often overlooked, can fill your heart with joy if you take the time to appreciate them. Moreover, mindfulness helps reduce stress and anxiety. When we worry about the future or dwell on the past, we create unnecessary suffering. By staying present, we can address challenges as they come, rather than getting overwhelmed by them. For instance, if you feel anxious about an upcoming meeting, focus on the task at hand. Bring your attention to the present moment, rather than letting worry cloud your mind. Practicing mindfulness in everyday activities allows you to live more fully and experience peace amidst the chaos of life. At hand, rather than letting your mind spiral into what-ifs. This shift in perspective can be liberating. Incorporating mindfulness into your daily routine doesn't have to be complicated. You can practice mindfulness while walking, washing dishes, or even while talking to someone. The key is to engage fully with the activity. If you're walking, feel the ground beneath your feet and notice the sounds around you. If you're talking, listen deeply to the person speaking rather than planning your response. These small shifts can transform how you experience everyday life. The benefits of meditation. Regular meditation practice can lead to increased focus and clarity. In a world filled with distractions, can also honing your ability to concentrate, creativity, and problem-solving skills. Studies show that people who meditate regularly promotes often find it easier to stay on task. It allows you to connect with your feelings in a safe space, helping you understand them better. When you sit in silence, you might notice emotions bubbling up, perhaps sadness, anger, or joy. Instead of pushing these feelings away, meditation encourages you to acknowledge and explore them. This process can lead to greater self-acceptance and emotional resilience. Mindfulness and relationships. Another vital aspect of mindfulness and meditation is their impact on relationships. When you practice being present, you become a better listener and more empathetic. This shift can deepen your connections with others. For instance, when you engage fully in conversations, people feel heard and valued. This simple act can strengthen bonds and create a more supportive environment around you. The journey of mindfulness and meditation. As you embark on your journey of mindfulness and meditation, remember that it's not about perfection. Some days, your mind may wander more than others, and that's okay. The goal is to cultivate a habit of returning to the present moment. Over time, this practice becomes easier, and you may find yourself naturally living more mindfully throughout the day. Set a timer. Begin with just 5 minutes a day, gradually increasing the time as you become more comfortable with the practice. Create a space. Designate a quiet corner in your home for meditation. Having a special place can make your practice feel more intentional. Use guided meditations. If you're unsure where to start, consider using apps or online resources that offer guided meditations. These can provide structure and support as you learn. Be kind to yourself. Remember that meditation is a practice, and it's okay to have off days. Approach your journey with compassion. Incorporate mindfulness into daily life. Look for opportunities to practice mindfulness throughout your day. Whether you're eating, walking, or washing your hands, try to focus on the experience. Mindfulness and meditation are powerful tools for cultivating inner peace and happiness. By practicing being present and connecting with ourselves through meditation, we can transform our daily lives. We learn to appreciate the little moments, reduce stress, and build deeper connections with others. The journey may not always be easy, but every step taken toward mindfulness is a step toward a happier, more fulfilled life. Embrace this practice and watch how it unfolds beauty and joy in your life. Overcoming suffering, a Buddhist perspective. Suffering is a universal experience that touches all lives. As we journey through life, we encounter challenges that can bring pain and sadness. But what if I told you that Buddhism offers profound insights into overcoming suffering? This perspective can help us navigate our struggles with grace and resilience. At the core of Buddhism lies the understanding that suffering, or dukkha, is part of being human. It is not something we can completely escape. Instead, we must learn to embrace it as a teacher. When we face difficulties, we can choose to see them not just as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. This shift in perspective can empower us to face life's challenges with courage. One of the essential teachings of Buddhism is the Four Noble Truths, which help us understand suffering's nature and how to overcome it. The Four Noble Truths. The first truth acknowledges that suffering exists, whether it's physical pain, emotional turmoil, or existential dread. Acknowledging suffering is the first step toward healing. It's crucial to recognize that feeling unhappy or unsatisfied is not a personal failure. It's part of the human experience. The second truth explains that suffering arises from our attachments and desires. We often cling to people, things, or outcomes, thinking they will bring us lasting happiness. When these attachments are threatened or taken away, we experience suffering. Understanding this can liberate us from the cycle of craving and disappointment. We learn to find contentment in the present moment without the need for external validation. The third noble truth reveals that there is a way to end suffering. This doesn't mean we will never experience pain again. Rather, it means we can change our relationship with suffering. By letting go of our attachments and accepting the impermanence of life, we can find peace, even in turbulent times. The fourth truth provides a path to liberation through the Eightfold Path. This path is a guide to ethical and mental development, leading to the cessation of suffering. It includes right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Each aspect of this path works together to help us cultivate wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, we can learn to navigate suffering more skillfully. Mindfulness, a powerful practice for overcoming suffering. One powerful practice for overcoming suffering is mindfulness. When we become aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment, we create space between ourselves and our experiences. This space allows us to observe our suffering rather than becoming consumed by it. For example, when you feel sadness creeping in, take a moment to breathe deeply and acknowledge that feeling rather than pushing it away. Let it be. Observe it as you would watch clouds drifting across the sky. This practice helps us see that our emotions are temporary. They come and go just like the weather. Compassion, healing for ourselves and others. Another key aspect of overcoming suffering is compassion for both ourselves and others. We often judge ourselves harshly during difficult times, adding to our pain. Instead, treat yourself with kindness. Recognize that you are human and that everyone faces challenges. By practicing self-compassion, you can soften the harshness of your inner critic, allowing healing to begin. Extending compassion to others is equally important. When we recognize that everyone experiences suffering, we can foster empathy and understanding. This connection reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles. Acts of kindness, whether big or small, can help us rise above our pain. Volunteering, listening to a friend, or simply offering a smile can create ripples of positivity that uplift both ourselves and those around us, reflecting on the impermanence of life. Moreover, reflecting on the impermanence of life can significantly ease our suffering. Everything we experience, both joy and sorrow, is temporary. The more we grasp this truth, the more we can let go of our attachments and embrace life as it is. This doesn't mean we stop caring. Rather, it means we learn to appreciate moments without clinging to them. Imagine holding a beautiful flower. You can admire its beauty without trying to keep it forever. When it wilts, you can cherish the memory instead of lamenting its loss. The power of letting go. Buddhism also teaches us the power of letting go. When we release our need for control, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Life is unpredictable, and trying to control every outcome only leads to frustration. Instead, learn to flow with life's currents. Trust that things will unfold as they should. This trust brings a sense of peace and reduces anxiety. Building resilience. In addition to these practices, developing resilience is essential. Life will undoubtedly present us with challenges, but our response to those challenges determines our suffering. Resilience is like a muscle. The more we exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Each time we face adversity and rise again, we build our capacity to handle future difficulties. Seeking support. As we navigate our journey, remember that it's okay to seek support. Sharing our struggles with friends, family, or a therapist can lighten our burdens. Opening up to others can create a sense of community and remind us that we don't have to face our suffering alone. It's a sign of strength to reach out and ask for help. In summary, Buddhism teaches us that suffering is a part of life, but it doesn't have to define us. By understanding its nature, embracing mindfulness, practicing compassion, and letting go of attachments, we can navigate our challenges with grace. Each step we take on this journey helps us build a happier, more fulfilling life. Remember, the path to overcoming suffering is an ongoing practice that leads to peace and liberation. Suffering and the journey to peace. Suffering is not a straight line, but with patience and perseverance, we can find peace and joy amidst life's storms. Living in the present, the power of now. Narrated by a Zen master, the present moment is simple yet powerful. Most of us spend our lives trapped either in the past or the future, rarely tasting the sweetness of the here and now. But let me ask you, have you ever noticed how much of your life slips away while your mind wanders? Perhaps you're sitting at home, thinking about something that happened yesterday, or worrying about what might come tomorrow. You're physically here, but your mind is elsewhere. And because of this, you miss out on the one moment that truly matters, the one right now. This is where Buddhism offers profound guidance. One of the fundamental teachings of Buddhism is mindfulness, the practice of being completely absorbed in the present moment. Buddha emphasized the importance of this, pointing out that the past has already slipped away and the future remains unseen. The only moment where we truly wield influence is the present. By embracing the present, we liberate ourselves from regrets, anxiety, and the myriad distractions that cloud our minds. Consider the analogy of a river. If you attempt to grasp the water that has already flowed past, you'll find nothing remains. Similarly, if you fixate on the water downstream, you'll miss the beauty of the current flowing right before you. Life, much like the river, is in perpetual motion. Without mindful attention, its essence can easily pass us by. The trap of postponing happiness. Many fall into the trap of postponing happiness, thinking it lies in future achievements, like a promotion or the perfect relationship. This mindset perpetuates a cycle of perpetual longing, always placing happiness just beyond reach. But what if true contentment lies within you, available right now in this very moment? You don't need to wait for a specific future condition, you simply need to be present. Take, for example, eating your favorite meal. If you fully engage with every aspect of the meal, the taste, texture, and aroma, you can genuinely enjoy the experience. Yet how often do we eat while distracted by thoughts of upcoming tasks or digital devices? Such distractions prevent us from truly appreciating the moment. If this disconnection happens during a meal, imagine how it affects other aspects of our lives. Every day, countless moments go unnoticed because we are not fully engaged. The past is merely a series of memories, shadows of what once was, while the future consists of our projections, laden with hopes and fears. Dwelling too much on either can disconnect us from the reality of now, leading to a disconnect from true happiness. Anchoring ourselves in the present. So how do we anchor ourselves in the present? It starts with mindfulness. This practice involves directing our attention to our actions, thoughts, and feelings as they occur, moment by moment. It can be as simple as observing your breathing, feeling the breeze against your skin, or listening to the ambient noises surrounding you. Through mindfulness, we learn to live more fully in the here and now, where life's real magic unfolds. When you practice mindfulness, you engage fully with the present moment. In doing so, you cultivate peace and intimacy. There's a wonderful saying, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift." That's why it's called the present. If we think of the present moment as a gift, something precious and unique, we begin to appreciate it more. Every moment is an opportunity to experience life fully, without the weight of the past or the burden of the future. Overcoming overthinking. One of the biggest obstacles to living in the present is our tendency to overthink. Our minds are often like restless monkeys, jumping from thought to thought. We dwell on past mistakes or worry about what's to come. But overthinking keeps us stuck, preventing us from enjoying what's happening right now. To quiet this mental chatter, we must train our minds to focus. Meditation is a powerful tool for this. When you meditate, you learn to observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them. You become more aware of the present moment and less attached to your worries and regrets. As a Zen master, I can tell you that the more you practice mindfulness, the more you'll realize that happiness is not something you find in the outside world. It's something that arises naturally when you're fully present. When you're in the moment, you're no longer weighed down by your problems. You're simply alive, aware, and at peace. Living in balance. Of course, living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the future entirely. We still need to make plans, set goals, and take care of our responsibilities. But the key is not to let those plans and goals dominate our lives. We can prepare for the future while still staying grounded in the now. It's all about balance. A simple practice for staying present. Here's a simple practice you can try to bring yourself back to the present the next time you find yourself feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. Take a moment to pause, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Focus on the sensations in your body. Notice the rise and fall of your chest, the feeling of your feet on the ground, and the sounds around you. In that moment, you're not in the past or the future. You're here in the present, where life is happening. Embrace the present. Remember, living in the present doesn't mean everything will always be perfect. There will still be challenges and difficult emotions. But when you stay present, you're better equipped to handle them with grace and clarity. You're no longer reacting out of fear or habit. Instead, you're responding from a place of calm awareness. Life is made up of moments, and each moment is a new opportunity to experience joy, peace, and connection. The more we embrace the present, the more we realize that happiness is not something we need to chase. It's already here, waiting for us in each breath, each step, and each heartbeat. So the next time you catch yourself worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, gently bring your attention back to the now. Look around, feel the air, listen to the sounds, and simply be. The secret to true happiness is living in the present. This is life unfolding right before you. This is where true happiness resides. By living in the present, you open yourself to the fullness of life. You begin to see the beauty in the ordinary, the peace in the stillness, and the joy in simply being. And in that, you discover a profound truth. Happiness isn't out there. It's right here, right now. The power of compassion and loving kindness. When we practice compassion, we step outside of our own struggles and connect with the shared human experience. This connection can be transformative. It reminds us that we are not alone in our difficulties, fostering a sense of belonging. The power of loving kindness and compassion. In this vast world, loving kindness, or metta, goes hand in hand with compassion. It's the unconditional love and goodwill we extend to ourselves and others. When we cultivate loving kindness, we create a safe space within ourselves, one where we can truly be who we are, without judgment. This love is not limited. It flows freely to everyone, including those we may find difficult to love. Loving kindness meditation. To embody these teachings in our daily lives, we can start by practicing loving kindness meditation. This meditation begins with focusing on ourselves. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and silently repeat phrases such as, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I be safe," "May I live with ease." This simple act of wishing well for ourselves creates a foundation for extending that same goodwill to others. Once we have cultivated a sense of love for ourselves, we can then extend these feelings to those around us. Picture someone you care about deeply. Imagine them sitting before you and silently repeat the same phrases. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. As you do this, notice how your heart opens. This connection strengthens the bond between you and the person you are focusing on. After that, we can expand our practice to include neutral individuals, people we encounter daily but do not have strong feelings for. This could be a cashier at the grocery store or a colleague at work. Even though we might not know them well, we can still wish them happiness and peace. Finally, we can direct these feelings toward those we find challenging. This step may be difficult, but it promises profound rewards. Extending loving kindness to those we find difficult begins to melt the walls we've erected around our hearts. As we nurture compassion and loving kindness, our outlook transforms. Focusing on the well-being of others lessens our own burdens. Instead of fixating on our troubles, we discover fulfillment in helping others. The power of simple acts of kindness. Simple gestures like a smile, a supportive hand, or a listening ear can send waves of joy throughout the community. Moreover, engaging in volunteer work can enhance this effect. Whether it's contributing at a local shelter, mentoring young minds, or helping clean up the environment, such acts of service forge meaningful connections with others. These interactions cultivate a sense of community and purpose, leading to a happiness that self-centered pursuits can't match. Self-compassion, treating yourself kindly. It's also crucial to show kindness to ourselves. We often judge ourselves too harshly. Practicing self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same kindness we offer others. When we stumble or falter, instead of scolding ourselves, we can acknowledge our efforts and accept our imperfections. This nurturing attitude builds resilience and deepens our joy, enhancing our overall well-being. Compassion and loving kindness as states of being. Compassion and loving kindness are not merely actions, they are states of being. They invite us to live with open hearts, to recognize the beauty in our shared humanity, and to find happiness in giving rather than receiving. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, we weave joy into the very fabric of our existence. Every act of kindness counts. Every act of kindness counts. As we walk this path, let us remember that every act of kindness counts. It may seem small, but its impact can be profound. A simple smile can brighten someone's day. A word of encouragement can uplift a weary spirit. By committing to a life of compassion and loving kindness, we not only enhance our own happiness, but also contribute to the happiness of those around us. In the end, the joy we create through service, compassion, and loving kindness is a powerful antidote to the suffering we all experience. It reminds us that true happiness lies in our connections with others and in our ability to love and support one another. Detachment and letting go. The path to freedom. In our quest for happiness, we often find ourselves burdened by attachments. These attachments can take many forms: possessions, relationships, or even our own thoughts and feelings. They can weigh us down like heavy stones in a backpack, making our journey through life more challenging. But what if we could learn to let go of these burdens? What if we could find freedom in detachment? The role of detachment in reducing suffering. Buddhism teaches us that suffering often arises from our attachments. We desire things to be a certain way: our relationships, our jobs, our self-image. When reality doesn't match our desires, we feel pain. This pain can lead to frustration, anxiety, and unhappiness. By practicing detachment, we can learn to accept things as they are rather than how we wish them to be. Letting go of material attachments. One simple example of detachment is our attachment to possessions. Many of us believe that having more things will make us happier. We work hard to acquire the latest gadgets, the newest clothes, or a bigger house. But as we accumulate more, we often find that our happiness does not increase proportionally. The more we cling to material things, the more we may find ourselves feeling empty and unsatisfied. Letting go of these attachments allows us to experience true freedom and contentment. Instead of constantly striving for more, we can find joy in simplicity. When we focus too much on material possessions, we often become stressed and unhappy. The more we have, the more we worry about losing it. In contrast, by simplifying our lives and letting go of excess, we create space for joy and contentment. One way to start is by practicing decluttering. Clearing our physical space often lightens our mental space as well. Letting go of old clothes, unused items, or even negative thoughts can help us breathe easier. By embracing simplicity, we make room for what truly matters: meaningful experiences, deep connections, and moments of genuine joy. Detachment in relationships. Detachment isn't just about possessions. It also applies to our relationships. Our loved ones bring us happiness, but over-attachment can lead us to rely on them for our emotional needs. This places undue pressure on them and can cause disappointment or resentment when they cannot meet our expectations. Healthy detachment allows us to appreciate relationships without clinging too tightly. We can cherish the time we spend with loved ones, while respecting that each person is on their unique journey. Letting go of expectations and embracing the impermanence of relationships helps us maintain a sense of peace and balance. By practicing detachment, we can navigate relationships more gracefully, fostering deeper, more fulfilling connections. The practice of letting go. Letting go is a practice that requires patience and self-compassion. Start small. Identify one thing in your life, a possession, a routine, or a habit that you feel overly attached to. Reflect on why you feel this attachment and what emotions arise when you think about letting it go. Acknowledge these feelings without judgment, and gently remind yourself that holding on may be causing more harm than good. Embracing impermanence. An important aspect of detachment is understanding the impermanence of life. Everything is constantly changing: our emotions, relationships, and circumstances. When we accept this reality, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. Embracing impermanence helps us appreciate the present moment more fully. Instead of clinging to things or people, we learn to cherish the fleeting nature of life. When we let go of attachments, we open ourselves to the beauty and richness of the present moment. Mindfulness plays a vital role in practicing detachment. By staying present, we can observe our thoughts and feelings without becoming entangled in them. When negative emotions arise, instead of clinging to them, we can acknowledge them and let them pass, like clouds drifting through the sky. The rewards of detachment. As we cultivate detachment, we may notice a profound shift in our overall happiness. The burdens we once carried become lighter, and the world around us feels brighter. Happiness is no longer something we chase. It arises naturally when we release our attachments and embrace the present. Detachment isn't about giving up. It's about creating space for happiness to flourish. By holding things lightly and accepting life's impermanence, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of joy and peace. This doesn't mean we stop caring or loving. Rather, it means we learn to appreciate the beauty in all things without becoming possessive. The freedom that comes with detachment allows us to experience life in a more fulfilling way. Equanimity, balancing emotions for lasting joy. Equanimity is a state of mental calmness and balance, no matter what happens around us. In our fast-paced lives, emotional highs and lows can feel overwhelming, but equanimity allows us to navigate these fluctuations with grace and stability. Understanding equanimity. Imagine standing by a river. Sometimes the water rushes quickly, creating waves and splashes. Other times, it flows gently, reflecting the clear sky above. Our emotions are like this river, constantly changing. Equanimity teaches us to observe these changes without being swept away. It's about floating above the currents rather than getting pulled under. In Buddhism, equanimity is a vital aspect of developing emotional resilience. When we cultivate equanimity, we learn not to react impulsively to emotions. Instead of being controlled by anger, frustration, or fear, we can respond with clarity and calm. This mental balance allows us to handle challenges with greater ease, reducing stress and enhancing our sense of well-being. Equanimity, finding balance. Amid life's ups and downs, equanimity helps us navigate life's challenges with grace. It doesn't mean becoming indifferent or apathetic. Rather, it teaches us to respond to situations with clarity and wisdom instead of reacting impulsively. Practicing equanimity. Imagine a challenging situation, perhaps a disagreement with a friend or a stressful day at work. Did you feel angry, anxious, or upset? These emotions are natural. Equanimity invites us to pause, take a deep breath, and observe our feelings without judgment. When faced with strong emotions, our instinct might be to push them away or try to change them, but equanimity encourages us to sit with them. Imagine sitting quietly and feeling the weight of sadness or frustration. Instead of escaping, breathe and acknowledge the feeling. Over time, you'll notice that emotions, like clouds, pass through the sky. They come and go, while your true self remains unchanged. Equanimity in difficult times. Equanimity is particularly helpful during life's challenges, such as losing a job or enduring a breakup. It's easy to get caught in despair, but equanimity provides a sense of stability. It helps us approach difficulties with a clear mind, enabling us to reflect and respond wisely rather than react impulsively. By cultivating equanimity, we find balance amidst life's highs and lows, bringing lasting joy and resilience. The gift of equanimity. Equanimity reminds us that happiness isn't the absence of difficulty, but the presence of inner peace. By shifting our perspective, we can turn challenges into opportunities for growth. Instead of being overwhelmed by negative emotions, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? Or how can I grow from this experience? This mindset fosters resilience and helps us navigate life's unpredictability with grace.